for years on to tokenize real world assets. So I'll hand it over to my engineer.
Wait, which laptop is it? Yeah. All right. Welcome everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Louder.
Louder? All right. I'm an engineer. I don't talk too loud. So I'm gonna try. All right. So I think that was a very interesting panel. I think our product's gonna touch a little bit on how we solve these problems that were brought up. So introducing Mercata. So for those who don't know, Mercata is our layer one blockchain, and Mercata is the marketplace application that we're building on it. So the agenda for today, mission statement, an introduction, it's going to be done by me, and then the demo is going to be done by our apps engineers. They're going to talk about features, overview, buyer flow, and listing a sale. Then trying to do the same thing on mobile. And then finally, I'll talk again about token standards we use. So first, the mission of Block Apps. We want to drive adoption of the next billion blockchain users by giving them access to rare and valuable things. Team buys, individual wins. That's our motto. So now the challenge or why we're doing this, we believe there's a big gap in digital ownership. We talked a lot about NFTs right now, and I think whether you like NFTs or don't like NFTs, something that I personally found was really cool was you're able to buy and sell NFTs and you're receiving them in your wallet and it's all instant compared to like when you buy a stock or something, like sure it shows in your wallet, but there's like 3 days of clearing this and that, but like everything was happening so quick. And I think that's really cool. And I think real world assets should also be able to benefit from that. But unfortunately, the ERC token standards that we have right now don't really cater to real world assets, right? Real world assets require another layer of security and functionality that the token standards that we have now might not have. Second, trading on blockchains is, I'd say, seamless and secure. It's definitely getting better. And I feel like, trading real world assets on the blockchain also should benefit from this decentralization, auditability, and like transparency and all the benefits of trading on a blockchain. And I think there's a missing piece. And, we believe that needs to be a system designed not just for digital art, but for all assets. Right. So the solution is STRATO Mercata. That's I'm gonna talk about what our product does now. And right. So there are 3 important features that we've tackled, and we believe are stopping real world assets from being traded on a blockchain. I'm going to go through each one of them right now. So first, there's we need security and functionality, right? So this is why what we did, we initially started out with smart contracts similar to Ethereum, and then we felt like trade real world assets, we needed to add a UTXO-like model to them, right? And I'll go through how we do that and why we do that. So we combine the security of the UTXO model from Bitcoin, right, which is pretty battle tested, and the flexibility of smart contracts. That's the first thing. Second thing, each asset is paired with sale contract, right? And we do this to add that extra layer of functionality and security you're talking about. Every asset on any other blockchain usually is represented by one contract. We have 2 contracts, so we could have extra security and functionality that sale brings, and we'll see how that works. And last thing, the most important thing is that each contract is carefully designed for real world assets. It's not only the contract, it's our platform, the marketplace app, everything from the get-go. We're like, we need to trade real world assets on this. So everything is like tailored, especially for that. Nice. Okay, I'm going to pass it to Arya to talk about what Mercado offers and start the demo.
All right, thanks, David. So I'm going to talk about our overall marketplace. So before we go there, I just want to mention what Mercado offers. So first of all, is our on-chain identity where we use the X509 standards to store user identities on the blockchain. So traceability, obviously everyone knows blockchain traces assets, and that's its main, I guess, value, one of the main values it has. And the third one is the proof of purchase, where with a combination of sale-based network fees and PBFT consensus algorithms, we provide a fair and democratized incentive model. So let's go over to the demo. So this is our marketplace app. This is the landing page where it hosts the asset model in action. So this is the 6 categories we offer. Carbon, which offers carbon offsets and carbon DAO. Metals, rare earth metals, clothing, rare collectibles, arts, and memberships that are owned by or sold by businesses, I guess. So if we go further down, we see all the trending items in our marketplace. And if we were to search for specific items, we would just do this. So this is a demo carbon neutral silver, a 5-ounce bar. And if we didn't want to use the search bar and just browse the marketplace, we would just go to the marketplace, I guess. And then right now we have 92 items listed, but we have the option of filtering that. So let's do metals, subcategory metal, and we can choose this product again. So this is the product details page of this carbon neutral silver, a 5-ounce bar. So as you can see, it's currently owned by Blockapps Metals, $140. And we can see the description over here, details, so source, purity, unit of measurement, and least sellable units. And over here in the additional information, the seller could attach additional PDFs to the specific asset. So right now, as you can see, we're not logged in, so we're an anonymous user. So if I were to press add to cart, it would prompt me to log in. So after I log in, it would go back to the same page. And if we click this user icon, we see the username, collectible, or email, and some strats. So strats is going to be our future token that we can exchange goods on the marketplace in the near future, hopefully. We see this additional tab here at the bottom where ownership history, where we can just track the ownership history of this specific item. So right now, only Blockapps Metals owns this, so no one else has owned this item before. So let's try adding this item to our cart again. We go to the My Cart page. We see all the details of our purchase, but we won't be going through the purchase right now. Additional tabs are orders, where we have our sold orders, bought orders, and transferred orders. Right now, I didn't buy anything, but I did sell 3 items so far. And if we want to see the order details, we would just go here and see all the necessary order details where the buyer, seller, total, and I guess the date it was purchased. But I guess if we want a PDF version of that, we would just check this invoice here, where it should show us a PDF version of our invoice. Other than that, we can search by obviously order not ID, filter by status, search by date. Another cool feature we have is we can export our orders and transfers as a CSV file or an Excel file. And last but not least, the My Store tab. So this tab has all the assets that the current user owns. So right now we can also filter by categories, but right now we only have collectibles. And in the collectibles, we have options where this specific item, we can edit the listing. We can change the quantity or price, or we can unlist this item from the marketplace, and we can mint more if you're the original owner, and we can transfer it to a random user. So if I were to transfer it to myself for a different account, I could just do so here. And for a seller to create a new inventory, we would just press create inventory here. Give it a name. We can do art, artist is Aria, which is me, description 1, 2, 3, and I could choose a an image, upload an additional PDF file. So here, this would be like an actual NFT stored in our blockchain. I won't be going through the creation of the asset model right now, but yeah, that's the overall walkthrough of the marketplace. And I'll hand it over to Neil and Hadi, which should show up, which they would show us the purchase flow of on our marketplace, I guess. So take it on.
Yeah, thanks, Arya, for giving us a walkthrough of the overall marketplace. So currently, we're gonna demonstrate how a purchase flow would take place in the Strato Mercata marketplace. So given the benefits that Strato Mercata offers, as David and Arya has gone through on the on-chain identities, the users who log in get their cert registered onto blockchain, and they're stored in a secured way. And every user who logs into Strato Mercata would be a peer who registers themselves on the blockchain, which is the Strato Mercata. So moving on, let me select a product which I would want to purchase. So every action that a user takes while let's say purchasing a product or listing a asset, they would be having a track on whatever the actions that are taking place, and blockchain is going to capture that. So I'm going to purchase this product. And now that I'm authenticated, I can pay. So as I can see, there's an order that got created and the payment has been received. And if I look back at my store page, I can find the newly received asset, the demo carbon neutral silver. So I can preview this asset and also look at the ownership. And as you can see, the ownership has been transferred over from Block Apps Metal to the current user that I'm logged in. And as we switch over, we could see that we have these options to list for sale as well as transfer. Now that I'm onboarded as a seller, I'm going to list it for sale for a higher price. And yeah, Hadi will take over with the mobile view on how a relisted asset can be purchased.
Yeah. So hey everyone. Yeah, so Neil just took us through the desktop version of the app. So I'll be going through the buying flow from a mobile perspective. So let me just share my screen.
Oh, wait, you have the bar and the 10-ounce one, 5-ounce one. This is
Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna be dealing with the bars on the side, but
Everyone wants to see some real silver. The 10-ounce.
so as you can see here, we have the mobile view of the app. So pretty much similar to the desktop, just more condensed. So I can go through the categories here if I want to search carbon or yeah, the several different categories, or I can search at the top. So I'll search for the item that Neil just listed. And that's it right here. So I'm gonna press on that, press on buy now, go to the checkout. So since I'm on an iPhone, I have the option to pay with Apple Pay. So we're gonna do that quickly. So we don't have to wait for a verification code this time. Okay, so now the payment is going through. And it takes you to the orders page where I can check out in the order details, the details of my purchase, which is right here. And if I head over to my store, I'll see the asset that I just purchased. And in here, if I press on preview and go to the ownership history, I can see all the hands that have been exchanged. So it started out from the Block Apps Metals user, and then it went over to Neil, and now it is now in my possession. So yeah, that's pretty much the mobile view. So I'm gonna pass it over back to David. Just stop sharing.
All right, so now I'm going to talk about the token standards we use on our blockchain. You can see, I saw the demo, now we're going to see, I guess, essentially what powers it. Right. So if you remember, I mentioned three things about how the three unique things that we're doing to, I guess, facilitate trading real world assets on our blockchain. I want to go through each one of those briefly and just show you like how we do it. So the first thing I said was, or actually the last thing I said, third thing I said was everything stated for real world assets, right? So we do all of this with essentially three contracts: asset sale and order. You can see the attributes and the unique features of asset sale and order. So asset name, description, images, files, pretty standard. Sale has reference to the asset, price, quantity, payment provider. So you saw we did it with Stripe. You can also do it with our token, maybe a stable coin in the future. And then order is going to have a list of sales and other information. Unique features, right? Asset behaves similar to a UTXO. I'm going to show how that happens. Sale manages sale, order orchestrates everything, right? So this is the buyer flow. So let's say someone goes and buys an item. What happens is they go on Mercado, they buy an item, and Mercado creates an order, and the order finalizes a sale, and then the sale transfers the asset. So there are like two extra layers of contracts there that are each programmable and can be modified, right? So as you can see, it's very similar to how things would happen on Amazon or something. Like order, sale, asset, right? Get invoice. Again, everything's tailored for real world assets. Now, the second thing is security and functionality. So we have these assets, and then we have a sale for each asset, right? The good thing about this is that you can have, now that everything is like modular, essentially, we can have different types of sales, right? So one thing could be an auction, one thing could be just you take only like Stripe, one thing you take something else, but like there's this flexibility in how you can sell an asset, right? And that's one good thing about it, customizable logic. And the second thing is we maintain a clear history of each unit, right? As you can see, like when the asset was traded, you can see the ownership history, and then you can see that, you can see exactly what he traded, when he traded it, and everything, right? So this is kind of how somebody lists an item. So they create an item on Mercado, then Mercado creates the asset, right? And then you saw them list for sale. So what happens there is they list the item, and then Mercado creates a sale, and then the sale attaches itself to the asset. So only the sale can attach itself to the asset, and only an asset can create a sale. So that's like a level of security there that we've added. And now the last thing, I kept saying that it's similar to UTXO. So it's not exactly like the UTXO model, but it's inspired by it. We started out with smart contracts, and then again, we felt the need to bring in a UTXO model to give that extra functionality that real world assets would have, right? So here's an interesting example. So let's say there's a contract with 100 oranges for sale, right? And John's trying to sell 100 oranges, and then Jane comes and tries to buy 3 oranges. So what happens here is they go on Mercado, they buy 3 oranges, and then Mercado transforms that contract into 2 contracts now, one with 97 and the other one with 3, and the one with 3 would be owned by Jane. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like cell division essentially, right? So it's very similar to UTXO model. In UTXO, this one would, you create 2 new ones and then this one would be spent. But here, like, this one gets transformed to that, and then you create a new one and increase the quantity, right? So again, we do this because now, like, they're 2 different contracts, and that gives you like granular control of every contract. You can change whatever you want with this one and then leave that one. And the second thing is there's no single point of failure, right? So the most popular token standard is like ERC20, and which has addresses, and opposed to that here there's like multiple contracts, versus ERC20, all the addresses and balances are held in one contract. So here, like, if you wanted to mess with all the oranges, it'll be very difficult for you to do so, because every time somebody buys an orange, it's going to be a separate contract in itself. But yes, so these are the 3 things that I was talking about. Now, if you want to dive deeper and see how these token standards work, you can scan that QR code or go to that link. There's also a PDF there that we made trying to explain what we did there for the developers or whoever's curious about how we're doing this. And that's pretty much it. Thank you, everyone. And
So, these token standards, just for everyone's context, is that we've taken everything we learned from our experience launching the Ethereum cryptocurrency and also working with multiple Fortune 500 companies to create tokenized contracts and create them on the blockchain over the years and put them in these contracts. And we're really proud to announce for the first time, we're making all these contracts open source, so anyone can use them. So our millions of investment, we hope that we can serve the community well. So thank you for being here. Just wanted to ask, does anyone have any questions? We know it's a very technical part of everything, but does anyone have any questions that we can touch on? Yes.
I have one. Could you, back on the slide,
Sorry,
really terrible time.
sorry. It's my bad.
They are engineers, not just professional presenters.
Yeah, I'm also an engineer. So, when you had that contract at the 502,
Yeah.
I think it was like Jane and John. What happens with the Jane contract? She then is it John also?
Yes.
Existing John will go away. So there's
Oh, do you mean-
contracts now.
so
Jane has 3, gives 1 to John.
yeah, as of now, only the owner would change. It wouldn't be combined. I think that's how UTXOs do it, right?
Yeah.
So this would be a standalone contract. Even if Jane gives it to John, only the owner would change. I think we're still thinking about whether we want them to be combined, but as of now, it's going to be standalone.
So what effectively is happening with all of these on a technical level is that as they separate, we're creating new generative contracts, right? So this becomes a new contract, this becomes a new contract. And so if Jane wanted to give this back to John, this contract would stay as a separate contract for the owner.
Well, so Jane has 3, split it. If Jane keeps 1, it gives 2 to John.
Yes, so that would generate yet another, that would generate 2 more contracts.
So, but there's still an existing John with 97.
Yes,
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so John would have 2.
you would actually have 3 in that case.
Oh.
So in the case of, this would split into 2 other contracts. This contract would get retired. You would have a 1 contract and a 2 contract, and then one of those would have, so John would have 2 contracts. But we roll those up in terms of the total preserved quantity, so the balance of the original 100 would always be.
So what are those 2 rooted to though? Get rid of that chain contract.
What's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I missed the question.
what are those two? We wouldn't get rid of this contract, the original photo, yeah, so everything's related back to the original. Sorry. Basically, you can kind of think of this as like, it's a combination of like a 721 and an ERC20. You can kind of think of it like, if you created a typical NFT, you have like a sub ERC20 token contract inside it. And as you distribute those tokens that came from the original contract, you create separate subtokens with the funds. Great questions. Glad we have some technical people in the audience. Thanks again. Pizza is.
Pizza is on the way.
There are now two types of pizza coming, Roberta is delayed,
The
Roberta, we have
Roberta,
Williamsburg pizza. So,
T-minus 15 minutes.
So there'll be
All right.
plenty of pizza in 15 minutes, but thank you very much for joining us. You okay?
No,
I know
actually.
stressed. Saw you stressed out there. Don't worry, it's all good. So just end this.
Thank you, guys.